Hi, I'm Anne and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be trying out the competitor of Goodreads, StoryGraph. I have used Goodreads since 2015. It has been a great way for me to document my reading journey and kind of keep track of the books that I liked and disliked. I mean, that's about all I use it for. I don't use Goodreads for a lot of the other things that they have. There are, I would say, three main things that I use Goodreads for. One, just putting down the books that I read, as well as like short reviews and rating those books. Keeping up with what other people are reading, so the friends I have on YouTube, as well as the friends I have in real life, what they are reading and enjoying. And then 3, new releases. I've been seeing quite a few booktubers, whether they are smaller or bigger, doing videos on StoryGraph. So it really made me curious if it is really as good as people say. The great thing about StoryGraph, it really breaks down the books that you are reading into pie charts and things like that, so you really understand your reading habits. So I wanted to try. The main reason that I really like the idea of StoryGraph is you can export all the books that you read from Goodreads, which is nice because one of the main reasons I haven't tried any other reading type software is because you have to manually put in every single book that you have read, which is really annoying. We're here in the front page of StoryGraph and we are going to sign up. It also gives you recommendations on new books to read. I don't think I really need this. Okay, now we are in. Okay, that's just exporting from Goodreads. It's still a little bit finicky. Okay, all right, let's export my Goodreads. Export library. If you have a large library. Then it says upload or drag the file you downloaded in step 1.
This will take a minute.
A few moments later.
Exporting.
1 hour later.
Edelweiss.
1 eternity later.
Wait, I'll receive an email when my import is complete. So this may take longer than I thought it would. I'm going to come back, I guess, when it is completed.
Tomorrow.
Okay, I am back and it is the next day. I did not expect the import to take so long. I was expecting like an hour or two, but it took about 28 hours. But I also blame myself because I have quite a few books. So, on the front page, just under the profile, it gives you, as you can see, it has my profile name, and then it has recently read, to be read, owned books. I mean, I don't own the Wendigo, so I don't know where they're getting that from. 5-star reads, and then tags. Top cozy. Okay, I don't know how like the tags would be, but the most important thing is the stats that I want to look over and see if it is really good at that. So I mainly read fiction books that are adventurous, mysterious, and lighthearted. That's actually true. Yeah, I like a lot of cozy mysteries. That's probably the genre that I read most. But I do read a lot of like more serious classics and nonfiction as well. But typically I choose fast-paced books. I don't know if that's the case. I think I enjoy middle-paced books. I don't like really fast-paced, and I don't like very, very slow-paced. I like kind of in the middle. So I guess they get that because a lot of the books I read are murder mysteries, but they are less than 300 pages, which kind of makes sense. I don't read a lot of like epic fantasy or very long books. I do, but they're not the general. I will say I feel like the majority of books I read are between like 300 and like 400 pages. So I don't know. They're probably taking into account the variety of short stories I read, which kind of pulls down the average. I don't know, but let's go to stats first and let's look. Okay, so right now I'm under viewing stats for 2021, but I'm curious to do of all time. So we're gonna do that. I have read 1,700 books. Wow. Over my entire life. I mean, and that doesn't count for a lot of the kids' books that I read as a kid that I don't remember reading, so I can't put them on my Goodreads. But I have read a total of 439,119 pages. That is insane to me. Okay, all right, so Oh, interesting. So they have the moods. I'm not sure how they dictate that, but adventurous, that makes sense. That makes sense because I do love adventure books, whether it's murder mysteries or like travel adventures. It's probably my favorite thing to read about. So yeah, it makes sense. Mysterious also really makes sense. What is this? Lighthearted? Yeah, I can see that. Again, I'm like half and half with that. Sometimes I really like the dark and dense. Sometimes I like the lighthearted. Informative, again, yes, I agree with that because I love reading like nonfiction history books. Reflective, yeah, a lot of the classics I read some philosophy as well, so that makes sense. Dark, again, I love like lighthearted is 308. I don't know how they dictate value, but then dark is only like 50 points less than that. So yeah, I both like lighthearted and dark books, apparently. Let's look at the pace. Okay, so it looks like, oh yeah, see, my fast is slightly higher, but it's only like 8 points higher. I have a higher value of fast-paced books, but interestingly enough, I'm almost even with all of them, which is really interesting to me that like I read almost as many slow books as I do fast books, so that's interesting. Let's look at average page number. Okay, so almost 1,000 value of less than 300 pages, and then I have half that, like 500 for between 300 and 400. And then, yeah, obviously less for 500 because most of the like 500 plus books I read are classics. So I don't read a lot of like modern books that are extremely long, like over 500 pages. All right, nonfiction, fiction, that makes sense. I read mostly fiction. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy nonfiction, but like 75% of modern releases that are nonfiction do not look interesting to me. I don't like celebrity nonfiction. I don't tend to like self-help type books. So, yeah. All right, now to genres. Ooh, look at how it goes down. That's very cool. Okay, all right. So number of books, the graph looks between 0 to 400, and historical is almost 400 books historical. 350 fantasy. Okay, I do read a lot of fantasy, so that makes sense. 330 mystery. I am surprised that the fantasy is above mystery, though I do know as a child I preferred fantasy, so I don't know. That's interesting. Children's, yeah, that makes sense because I have a lot of my childhood books on my Goodreads, so that would transfer over. Classics, yeah, again, that makes sense because I do read a lot of classics. Romance, though, I'm surprised about. Oh no, that's young adult. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the next one down is romance. Yes, so young adult makes sense because I have a lot of the books that I read as a young adult, as a teenager, and I still read some young adult books because I feel like a lot of young adult books are more hyped than adult books. I don't know what it is about YA books. I don't know. But romance is higher up on the list than I thought it would be because I don't read that much romance. But not surprised that history, fantasy, and mystery are the top of the list, and I'm surprised a little bit by how high the children books are, but I know that I have a bunch of books that I read as a child on there, so that kind of makes sense. Okay, let's just see. I do want to go over actually my stats for this year after we do this real quick. So number of books read, pages read. Interesting. So it looks like the year where I've read quite a lot of books where it started to like peak up. So 2010, I would have been 16. And then 17 and 18, it really peaked. And then it went down, which makes sense because when I was 18, I went to college and I didn't have as much time to read for a while there. So it makes sense. Like 2015, I think, was the year I graduated. So it makes sense that the next year after that, it like spikes way up. Because I only read 26 books in 2015. I mean, I was very busy. Average rating. Oh, interesting. 3.75. That's actually higher than I thought it would be because I tend to rank a lot of things as just like 3 stars generically. But I am curious it'll probably change drastically when we go to 2021. So let's go to that. Okay, let's see the pages. The books I read. I've read 95 books this year, which is cool. Interestingly enough, it's a lot different. So mystery is first, not adventure. And then adventure is second. And then dark is third. So lighthearted is way lower on the line. Emotional, reflective, tense, lighthearted is way further. Interesting. How like overall I prefer lighthearted books, but this year I've read a lot darker books. That's probably why I felt like the lighthearted didn't really fit for me, because it doesn't for me currently, but it probably did when I was a child. Pace, again, yeah, the same thing about, except I'm more medium now, which, as I said near the beginning of this part, yes, I am more of a medium paced reader. I don't like it super slow. I don't like it super fast. I like it kind of in the middle. Page numbers, again, like I said, I told you that overall this year I feel like I've been reading longer books, and this is true because 59 of the books were between 300 and 499 pages, and I have read only 4. Curious, will they actually tell me, okay, what's the plus 500? Micro, Silver Stars, Last Hope Island, and The Shining. Interesting. So the next section is fiction, nonfiction. Again, like that hasn't changed. I am much more of a fiction reader than a nonfiction reader. But the genres are a bit different because young adult is the highest, which is interesting. I did not think that I read that many young adult. I'm just curious, like what would be categorized as young adult? Fatal Throne was not YA, I would say. Oh, that's true. I read all the Dorothy Must Die series and the Shadow and Bone series. So that's already like 7 books. So again, below that it makes sense because historical is next, and then fantasy, and then mystery again. And classics is close up there. So yeah, children's is way lower, which makes sense because now I don't read as many children. I'm curious to see out of the 8 books I read that's children, what is it? At the Back of the North Wind, Ozma of Oz. Oh yeah, I did start rereading The Wizard of Oz, so that makes sense. Obviously, I'm still in the middle of August, so I haven't put everything in, and everything's 0 for the rest of the year. But interesting, I read the most in June. I read 19 books in June. Did I read 19 books in June? I don't remember that. Yeah, I think I like keeping it around 10 books a month. I really enjoy that. If it gets to be more than that, I feel like I don't remember them as well. Average star is much lower this year, which makes sense because I feel like this year I have been rating a lot of things 3 stars. Yeah, so this website is definitely very interesting. Let me see about the reading challenge and open that. Let me just explore it. So far, I'm enjoying reading goal. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they have 2 types of challenges. They have both book goal, like how much you read, as well as page goal, which is interesting. So yeah, let's just check out the community. Obviously, I'm not friends with anybody yet. But I will actually link in the description my StoryGraph. So if you want to go over there, just search Malice because I know I need to add that anyway. Just curious to see, can you put reviews? Review summary. Read. Oh, this is the day. No, except for today. Oh, interesting. Look at all the stats it gives about the book. I love how they see, like, mood. They're super into the moods. Lovable characters. It's complicated. Okay, Malice characters is complicated. I mean, they do have lovable characters. Oh, here. Add a review. Adventurous, definitely. What would I categorize it as? Emotional. I would say it's medium. I'm gonna give 3.5 stars. I actually like that. You can give it, like, instead of just saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, it can be a little bit diverse because there are some books that I end up giving 3 stars that some might be closer to 2.75 stars and some might be 3.5 stars, and I can't give that detail. So I do like that. Yeah, I definitely kind of want to dabble in it more and see if I enjoy using it as much as I do with Goodreads, because I'm so used to Goodreads, it feels to me like it might be hard to switch over, but I'm curious to try now. So, have you tried StoryGraph? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. If you have tried it, what are your thoughts, especially if you have used it for a while? And also, if you haven't used it, how does it look from my video? Does it look like something that does certain things better than Goodreads? And does it do something that you think would be worse than Goodreads or that you think would be missing from Goodreads? So far, I am very intrigued. It does a lot of the things that I think Goodreads does poorly. It does better. But there aren't as many features. So I'm just curious, what are your thoughts? I'm not sure what I think about the whole like mood in a book. I guess it makes sense if you're a really moody reader. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I post every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great week. Bye.